I was thinking about this a lot, and in the how to say, the foundation of the company was to make games for the Western market. But that said, I mean, the Chinese market is growing fast, and we were talking a lot about that. If the game is actually made in China, there's also a national pride for the Chinese that this is actually a good game coming from China. So we thought even our games were not, you can say, free-to-play kind of mobile games. They were more like PC / console kind of premium games. There would probably still be a market for it, and we had some ideas how to market it, but it would be more an opportunity that we would see if it would happen or not, rather than base the business on it, because like you said before, I mean, the Chinese games industry is very focused on just making a clone of the next or the latest big thing and cashing in on that, and it's very much it's called like a pay-to-win market. That the free-to-play games, then you pay to get the best equipment, and then you can kill everybody else. And you have some people in the games that are paying. I think I read in a report that some numbers they didn't really want to talk about is that in a free-to-play game, maybe you have 1% or 1.5% that is actually paying at all. And then out of those 1.5% of those people are the ones that are paying serious money. And we're talking about maybe 10,000 euros a month. This one person is paying for this one game because he likes this game and he's buying everything. So the game developer will even assign several people to just taking care of this one customer and be around him like his, like a little entourage to follow him around and making sure he has a lot of fun, because he leaves so much money in the game that he basically pays for everybody else's game time. So in China, it's very much about finding these kind of super customers. And if you have some of those, then you will kind of fund your game. But that kind of game development, I would say, is more about game business than game design. Designing the game, how you can get most money out of it, and that's interesting, but it's not what I would prefer to do. I mean, I prefer to do games where you pay the price to pay the game, pay for the game, and then you play it and you can enjoy the design without having to always think that you have to pay around the next corner. Things are moving extremely fast in China in general, right? I mean, 10 years ago, I mean, none of this would be possible, right? So I think 10 years from now, I mean, it's going to be, everything might be just like the West. But one thing that is not changing as fast as everything else is you can say the middle class is growing really fast. But the middle class in China is only based on money. It's not based on, you can say, culture. In the kind of Western society, the middle class is usually quite well educated, and it has a certain, you can say, understanding of culture and art, and these things are building the values for the middle class. But in China, because the middle class has grown so fast out of nothing, the middle class is only based on that they making enough money to be there. And they might still be in their mind coming from the countryside. So they still have the knowledge is very much lower. And this, of course, this takes some time, right, to change. And it takes more than just a few years to get a new generation of people that will have this kind of stronger knowledge, you can say. And that goes for both like copyright things and appreciating more, you can say, more complexities in entertainment. I think a lot of the nuances of the movies from the West coming to China, for instance, is completely lost on its audience. A lot of the, you can say, pop cultural references, these things, they're kind of oblivious to it, but they won't be later. I mean, then they will probably understand a lot more. But that also means that they're missing out of a lot of the interesting parts, actually, of the movies. They only see the more superficial things. You can say the big action movies and the big action scenes, of course, they are impressive still, but truly understanding how the story really works and being able to enjoy it, I think it will take some time for them also to have enough, you can say, education in the system and having enough focus on it, because that is going to change a lot for the entertainment industry in China when that happens. I don't say that China should end up like the Western people. I mean, not at all. It's more about trying to understand the Chinese culture and what the potential development will be for them. I mean, I'm really hoping that they will, you can say, rather spend time to develop their own culture more than trying to you can say, immerse themselves in the Western culture, because I think that's also one thing that makes it difficult, because there seems to be an obsession with the Western culture, and I think you've seen the same in the Japanese in the past, that they also have had this kind of nostalgia for a lot of the Western things, and they should look much more to their own culture. I mean, they're spending a lot of time now to kind of build up their cities, destroying a lot of the old parts of the town, and you can say a lot of these old just furniture and designs and things. It's disappearing really fast, and I'm afraid they'll end up in a situation where suddenly they find out, shit, we should have preserved more of these things. Or they've sent it all to abroad, because then there's some what's called some antique dealers comes to China and say, hey, we're going to just buy all these things and ship them off to US or whatever, right? So, and it's going to be too late when they find out that actually they want this stuff still, because it's part of their heritage, right? They should be really proud of it. Because their development happens so fast, it gets lost in the yeah. I've heard stories from some of the expats in Shanghai where they might be sitting at a whole dinner table where the only one that actually cares about the pavilion they just kind of destroyed was a Westerner, and kind of illustrates for me that that's not where they have their focus. But of course, it also makes sense, because if you've been living in this kind of countryside house with all this old rubbish furniture, how they would call it, and you have the money to buy some new stuff from IKEA or whatever, you will do that because it looks nice, it's new, it's fancy, and you will throw all the old stuff out, right? And all the Western people, they sort of look, wow, you throw out all these old beautiful things, it's like this beautiful bed with all these ornaments. Can I buy it? Like, yeah, you can take it, and it's rubbish, I'm going to burn it. Very important is to try to understand the difference in culture, because if you go in expecting the same as you have in the West, then you will immediately fail, right? So you have to accept that things are different, good and bad, and just try to understand how can you use that to your advantage. And I mean, I found out a little late that I could use my embassy located in Shanghai to actually ask a lot of the questions, and you can say, they had a lot of the knowledge already. If I asked them up front, they would be able to tell me that these are the 10 common things that a foreigner will meet. And these things are not secret, right? It's very obvious things, I think. But one big problem, of course, is to find someone you can trust, right? Someone you need to work with someone unless you're by yourself. And trust in general is very hard to come by in China. And I think I heard that the most powerful kind of trusting network you can get, that you will get during your school time or your university, these people are quite trustworthy. So this is a powerful network. But in China, it's like building these networks was the foundation for the economy. So as a Westerner coming in, of course, you don't have any of that. So you have to find a way to build your own network, and starting with your embassy could be a good chance. And I think going on some recon trips first to kind of find out a little bit more, also going to some of the schools, talk with some of the students. I mean, if you're an expert coming from the West, it should be easy to get the possibility to do some lectures in a school, for instance. And then you will also hopefully get to know some of the students, know their level, what is their expertise, what is it something you can use for something. So doing more footwork, I would say, before you take this step. It's a beautiful place. I mean, it's amazing location here, and it's really interesting to see the diversity in the program here. I didn't get to catch a lot of it today, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow to see more. And yeah, I didn't know so much about FMX until this year, but it's been very nice being here.